CCC family, it's Dawn Marie with Custom Comfy Crochet, and today we are going to learn how to make this huge 3D flower. It is so beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I had to show you guys how to make it. It's not that hard either. I wouldn't say that it's beginner friendly, but you know what? If you know how to crochet, you can do anything. However, if you are very new to crochet and you're not familiar with a lot of the stitches we're using, how to hold your hook, how to hold your yarn, stuff like that, I have a totally beginner crochet video below that you can check out, and that might help you with some of the things that we're doing today in this video. So let's get into the materials. So today I'm going to be using a 4.25 millimeter hook. I'm going to be using a pink and white yarn. I'm using what's called Caboo yarn. It's a Lion brand yarn. You can find this pretty much anywhere. I got mine at Walmart. It can get a little pricey, but honestly, you just need 2 of these to make this big flower, and you'll still have a little bit left, okay? And so this is made out of bamboo and cotton. It is extremely soft and luxurious, and it even has a little bit of a shine to it, similar to Karen Simply Soft, but different, okay? So this is called pale pink, and then I use the other color, and that is literally called white. So, but I will put this in the description box below, along with all the other materials that we're using today. You are going to also need a pair of scissors, and you're going to need a darning needle. Okay, so I have this darning needle right here. You also might call it a crochet needle. If you have a smaller one, bigger one, doesn't matter. I think it'll all work out okay. All right, so that's what you'll need for today. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. So I want to explain a little bit about how these are fitted together. It may be just common sense for some of you once you see this laid out like this, but just in case it's not, basically you're going to need 6 petals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6th one I'm making for this video. And this is a little bit time consuming, but it's really fun to do. So what you do is you make your petals, and then you do a little thing around them like this, which I'm going to show you how to do to hold them together. As you can see right here, they're being held together by this puff stitch that goes all the way around. That puff stitch is worked just like the puff stitch in the middle here of the flower, okay? And then what you do is once you place them, which I'll show you how to do all this, you sew these ends together, you sew the sides together, and then you do a little piece for the middle. So easy stuff, but right now we're going to start on how to make these beautiful petals for the flower, okay? So I'm going to put this to the side, and I have this still hooked to other stuff so that I can show you how to put it together. So we'll start with a brand new skein of this Caboo yarn, and I'm going to go ahead and take this off here. And the first thing that you're going to do after you find your end, now this yarn does not come through the middle, it never does, it always comes from the outside, which is not fun, but it's still a beautiful yarn. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to make a slip knot, and then you're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to join with the last stitch there that you did. You're going to make a slip stitch just like this, going through the first stitch. Okay, then you're going to chain up 3, and then you're going to put another double crochet into the center of your circle. Just like that. Then you're going to chain 2, and you're going to put 2 double crochets into the center of your circle. So this is what it looks like so far. So this chain of 3 counted as a double crochet. Then we did a double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So then you're going to chain 2 again and put 2 more double crochets. And you're going to need 6 of these 2 double crochets. So again, chain 2 and do 2 more double crochets. And again, chain 2 and and 2 more double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we need 1 more, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Just like that. Then you're going to chain 2, and then you will slip stitch to the top of this first chain of 3. Okay. So now we are done with round 1. You can pull that in the middle tight if you'd like. And now what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into our next stitch right here. So you're on top of this chain of 3, so you're going to go on the top of this next double crochet, and you're going to slip stitch. And we're going to slip stitch our way over to this first space. Okay, and then you slip stitch into the chain 2 space. And now we're in that chain 2 space. So now you're going to chain 3. Then you're going to double crochet. Then you're going to chain 2. Then you're going to put 2 double crochets. Just like that. Then you're going to chain 2, and you're going to go right into your next space right here, and you're going to repeat that again. You're going to put 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far. Then you're going to skip a space and go into this next space, but you're going to chain 3 now. So 1, 2, and 3, chain 3, skip this space and go all the way here to the next space and put a double crochet. This is going to cause your work to turn upward, and that's exactly what you want it to do. Then you're going to put another double crochet. Then you're going to chain 2 and put 2 more double crochets. Just like that. Then you're going to go into your next space right here. You're going to chain 2, work into this very next space, and repeat that again. Double crochet, another double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. 1 and 2. Just like that. Then you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're going to skip this space, and then all you're going to do now is you're going to slip stitch right into the top of this first chain of 3. Just like that. So this is what it looks like, and it's turned up. So you can turn it out if you'd like, just like this, and start working this way here. Okay. So now you're going to, again, slip stitch into your next spot. Your space there, this next stitch, slip stitch. Then slip stitch into the chain 2 space. Okay. You're going to do that all throughout this whole pattern. Okay. So now we're in our chain 2 space, and now we're going to chain 3, put another double crochet. Okay, so we did chain 3, 1 double crochet, and then you chain 2, and then you're going to put 2 more double crochets in that same place. Just like that. Then you're going to chain 2, and you're going to skip a space. So we're going to skip this space and go into this next one and do the same thing. Double crochet, another double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. Just like that. Then you're going to work a puff now. So you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to be working a puff over this chain 3 space, but you're going to be working into the row below. So let's go ahead and yarn over, and we're going to be working right down here in between these 2 sets of double crochets here. So going over the chain 3 space, going into the space below, you're going to pull up once, twice, 3, 4, and 5 times, okay? Then you're going to go through all of these loops, but what I want you to do is hold your thumb here, because you're going to be working through this loop right here that you're pulling through. So hold your thumb here, pull through. You've got those 2 loops on your hook, and then you've held this piece out right here, go through there, pull up, and then go through all 3, just like that. And there you've made a puff. Now I'm going to do that several more times, so if you didn't get that then, don't worry, you're going to keep seeing it over and over again. So chain 1, then you're going to go into your next available space over here, so not this space right here that you just worked around, but this next one, and you're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Then you're going to chain 2, you're going to skip a space, go into the next, and do the same thing. 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. So I promise this does get easier as you go along, okay? So then we're going to chain 1, and then again, we're going to be working a puff right here where this chain of 3 is. So we're going to be working down below that into the row below, okay? This is the only round that you work in the row below. So then we're going to yarn over and do a puff. We're going to go through 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're going to hold your thumb here because you're going to hold this piece out right here. You're going to be working through it. You're working yarn here. So you're going to yarn over, pull through all the loops. You've got these 2 left. Then you're going to go through this that you were holding out with your thumb, pull through. You've got 3 loops, go through all 3 loops, just like that. Then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to work right into the top of this chain of 3 that you did. Okay, so this is what it looks like all the way around. You have a puff, then you have a set, then you have another set, a puff, a set. So you see it just goes around just like that, okay? But now we're going to start increasing how many puffs that we do, and that's what gives this its shape, okay? So we're going to, again, like we're going to do for every row, we're going to go into our next stitch, and we're going to do a slip stitch, and we're going to go into our next space, do a slip stitch, and then we're going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to go into that same space, work a double crochet, then we're going to chain 2, work 2 more double crochets, and then just like you did before, it's the same way, we're going to chain 2, skip a space, and go into the next. And we're going to put 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Just like that. Then you're going to chain 1, and now we're going to put 2 puffs. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a puff right here in this space, and then we're going to put a puff right here in this space. So let me show you how to do that real quick. So after you chain 1, you're going to yarn over, and you're going to go right here beside this puff into this space, and you're going to work a puff. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember, hold your thumb here over this, pull through. One, two, three, 4, and 5. Hold your thumb here over this, pull through. You've got the 2 loops right there on your hook. Go through this space right here, pull up, and then go through all 3 loops. Then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to go into this next space right here beside this puff. And you're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hold this out with your thumb. Go through all loops except for these 2 right here. Go through this place right there. Pull up. Go through all 3 loops. Then you're going to chain 1, and you're going to go into your next available space and work 2 double crochets. Chain 2, 2 more double crochets. Okay. Then you're going to chain 2, skip this space, go into the next, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Then you're going to chain 1, and right here on this side, you're going to do the same thing that you did on the other side. So you're going to do 2 sets of puffs here on either side of this one. So you're going to go right here, and you're going to work a puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. You're going to hold your thumb here to keep this spread out. You're going to pull it through all but those 2 loops right there. Then you're going to leave those 2 loops on your hook, go into this next little loop that you left out with your thumb, pull up, and go through all 3. Then you're going to chain 1. You're going to skip over this puff, go to the space next to it, and repeat again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hold your thumb here to keep this spaced apart. Go through all except for these 2 loops. Go back into this that you separated with your thumb, pull up a loop, go through all 3 loops. Then you will chain 1, and you will slip stitch to your top of your chain of 3. So this is what it looks like so far. So you've got 3 puffs on this side and 3 puffs on this side, okay? So now what we're going to do is just like we did before, we're going to slip stitch into our next space, slip stitch into this chain of 2 space, and start again. Chain 3, put a double crochet in the same spot, chain 2, put 2 more double crochets, then you're going to chain 2, skip this space right here, go into the next, do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets, then you're going to chain 1. Now we're going to work 3 puffs. So we'll work a puff here, we'll work a puff in the middle of these, and then we'll put a puff here at the very end. So again, yarn over, pull up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hold your thumb here to hold this out, pull up, go through, leave 2 loops, go through this loop, pull up a loop, and go through all 3 loops. Chain 1, go through the middle here of your puffs, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through all those loops except for these last two. Holding your thumb over this one, go through, pull up, go through all 3 loops. Chain 1, and then work on this other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hold your thumb here, go through all loops, except for these last 2 here. Go back into that, pull up, go through all 3 loops. Then you will chain 1, go directly into your next space, put 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Then you will chain 2, skip a space, go into your next space, work a double crochet, another double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Then you will chain 1 again, and you will do the same thing on this side that you did on the other. So we're going to work our 3 puffs now. Going into the space right here, you're going to pull up 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through all the loops except these last 2. You've got this one held out with your thumb. Go through, pull up, go through all 3 loops. Chain 1, and then go in between these 2 and do another puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go through all those loops except these last 2. Go through the space you were holding with your thumb. Go through all 3, chain 1, and then do your last puff here of this row on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull through all except these last 2. Go through this loop you were holding with your thumb and go through all 3. Then you chain 1, and then you're going to slip stitch into the top of your chain of 3, which ends this round. So let's just look at what everything looks like so far. So right now, as you can see, we're increasing our puffs. So after we did that initial row, you have 1 puff, 2 puffs, 3 puffs. And on this side, 1 puff, 2 puff, 3 puff. So what you're going to keep doing is you're just going to keep increasing these puffs as you go around while still keeping everything else the same. So you see on the sides here, we have where we chain 2 on both sides. And you see everything matches up, okay? But I'm going to keep showing you how. But if you felt like you have it and you want to pause the video and just go ahead on your own, you can. But you're going to need to increase your puffs all the way up to 6, okay? But we're going to do that together. Okay, so we're starting on our next row. So just like we do every other one, you're going to go into your next space, do a slip stitch, go into your next space, do a slip stitch, and chain 3. Go into that same space, do another double crochet, chain 2, then do 2 double crochets. So then you're going to chain 2, skip a space, go into your next space, and again do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Okay, and now we're where we need to be making more puffs. So you're going to chain 1, and you're going to put a puff here, right in front of this one, in the middle of this one, in the middle of this one, and then 1 right here. So you're going to have 4 in total, okay? So you're going to go, after you've chained 1, go into this space right here before this puff and make a puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hold your thumb here to hold this out. So again, you're holding this piece right here that you go through everything with. You're holding it out with your thumb, okay? So normally you would just pull through and it would go in. Okay, so holding with your thumb, you're going to pull through Then there's 2 loops left on your hook. Go through this one that you were holding out, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops, go through all 3 loops. Chain 1 and do the same thing right in between these 2 right here. So pull up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then holding your thumb here, go through all these loops. You have 2 left. Go through this one right here, pull up, go through all 3 loops. Chain 1 and do that again into the next space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go through, pull up, go through all 3 loops, chain 1, and then do another one right here in between this puff and your double crochets here. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then chain 1. Go into your next space and do 2 double crochets. Chain 2 and 2 more double crochets. Then you're going to chain 2, skip this space right here, go into the next space, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. And then you're going to do the same thing on this side that you did on the other. You're going to chain 1, go into this space right here, work a puff, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through all loops, chain 1, go into your next space, work another puff, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, through, chain 1, and into your next space, another puff, 2, 3, 4, and 5, chain 1, and right in between here, you're going to put your last puff for this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through all. Okay, then you chain 1, and then you're going to slip stitch to the top of your chain of 3. And so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 puffs, and then everything's the same in between. And again, you're going to slip stitch over to your chain 2 space, and then you're going to chain 3, put another double crochet because that chain of 3 counted as a double crochet. Then you're going to chain 2 and put 2 more double crochets. Then you're going to chain 2, skip this space right here, go into this space, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets, then you're going to chain 1, and now it's time to work 5 puffs. So you will work a puff here, right here, in between here and this space, then in between those, there, and there, to make 5. Okay? So you're going to go into this space right here, and you're going to work a puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, right in between these, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. sure you're chaining 1 in between your puffs. Go into your next space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through, chain 1, and again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, go into your next space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 puffs. Chain 1, go to your next space right here, work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, then chain 2, work 2 more double crochets, then you're going to chain 2, skip this space and go into the next space, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Then you're going to chain 1, and you're going to work puffs just like you did on the other side. You're going to work on this side. So you put a puff here, put a puff here, 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 and here. So we're going to do that off camera, and I'll meet you back up when we're done. Okay, so we finished our 5 puffs over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into the top of our chain of 3. And now we're going to go into our next row. So we're going to slip stitch over into our chain 2 space, just like we do for the beginning of every row. Then you're going to chain 3, put a double crochet, chain 2, and do 2 more double crochets because that first chain of 3 counted as a double crochet. Okay, then you're going to chain 2, skip this big space right here, go into the next one, put 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Okay, then you're going to chain 1, and now you're going to work 6 puffs. So this is the last row of our increase. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this time we're going to do 6 puffs, and just like you've done before, you're going to work 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and then 1 here at the bottom. Okay, so you're going to yarn over, go into the space right here, and work a puff. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Go through all. And I would encourage you, if I'm moving too fast for you or you're not catching on, there's some ways to slow down the video right there on YouTube. If you go into your settings, you can also pause, rewind, anything that you need to do if I'm just moving too fast or you need some more time. Just keep that in mind. And if for some reason you can't get the hang of doing the puffs the way that I'm doing by holding my thumb there and holding it out like that, you can try to do a puff the way you want to do it, as long as it, you know, is sitting on its own like that. You could definitely do that. Make sure you chain 1 in between these puffs. and this is our 6th puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through all these loops here. Go through. Then you will chain 1, go into your next space, do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets, then you will chain 2, skip this space, go into the next space and work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. And then you will chain 1, and then you will start working your puffs on this side just like you did the other side. So you put 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here, and you should have 6, okay? But we're gonna do that off camera because I know you know how to do it because we just did the other side. And I'll meet you back up in just a second. So we worked our last puff here for this side over here, so we have 6. So we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into our first chain of 3. And now we're going to start decreasing. And the way to decrease is to literally just do less puffs, okay? So in this next row, we're going to do 5 puffs instead of going further, okay? So you're going to work over, slip stitch over to your chain of 2 space. You're going to chain 3, do a double crochet, chain 2, and do 2 more double crochets. Okay, then you're going to chain 2, skip this space, go into the next, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. And now we're at where we need to work some puffs. So to decrease, the only thing you're going to do, of course, you're chain 1 because you're going to be working some puffs now. But instead of working a puff stitch here, you're going to start here. So you put 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So instead of putting these on the end, you're going to skip those, okay? So you're not going to put 1 here. You're only going to be working through the middle here, and you need 5, okay? So let me show you. So I'm going to skip this space here. I'm going to skip this puff and go in between these 2 puffs and do a puff. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through. Just like that. Chain 1. Go in between my next set. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through, chain 1, go into my next, between my next, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through, chain 1, go in between the next, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through and chain 1, go into my next space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through all of those. Okay, so now I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's all I need for that row. I'm not going to put any puff here now. I'm just going to chain 1, and I'm going to go into my next available space over here, and I'm going to put 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Then I'm going to chain 2, go into my next available space. So I'm skipping this space, going into this one. I'm going to work 2 double crochets. So everything is the same except for the amount of puffs. Chain 2 and 2 more double crochets. And so now we are at our puffs again. So you would chain 1, and then instead of working a puff here, you're going to work 1 here, 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 and here. and here. So on this side, you'll have 5. So you go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back up in just... Okay, so we finished our 5 on this side. So now all we need to do is chain 1, which I did, and then we're going to slip stitch to the first chain of 3 that we did here to the very top. Okay, so just like we've been doing, we're going to start again. We're going to slip stitch into our first chain 2 space here, and then we're going to chain up 3, and we're just going to keep decreasing for our puffs. So we'll do another double crochet, chain 2, 2 more double crochets, then you're going to chain 2, you're going to skip a space, go into this next space, and do a double crochet. Then you're going to do another double crochet. Then you're going to chain 2 and do 2 more double crochets. And now you're at your puff stitches. So you will chain 1, and in this row, we're going to do 4 puffs. So we won't start a puff here. We're going to start it right here. And we'll go right in between these 2 here and work a puff stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through all those, go back in, pull up, go through those 3 loops, chain 1, go in between our next space, pull up a loop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go through all of those loops, go here, go through all 3, chain 1, go in between your next puffs, pull up, do a puff, 2, 3, 4, and 5, go through all loops except for those 2, then go through that, chain 1, do another puff, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and that's our last one, and you should have 4 puff stitches, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so then you'll chain 1, and then you will go into your next available space over here, so not here, but all the way over here, and you will do a double crochet, another double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Then you will chain 2, go into not this space, but the next one, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets, then you will chain 1, and then you will start puff stitches again. Again, you only need 4. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we went down to 5, and now we're going down to 4. So again, just like you did on the other side, you will skip this little space right here where we would normally work in and go into the next and work a puff. So you do these puff stitches, and we'll meet back up together again in just a minute. Okay, we've just finished our row with the 4 puff stitches. So now we're going to chain 1. We're going to go into the top of our first chain of 3 and do a slip stitch. Okay, now we're working on this round now. And so it seemed like we started with our other ones. You're going to go into your next stitch, do a slip stitch into the chain of 2 space. Then you will chain 3, do another double crochet because that counts as your first, chain 2, and then put 2 double crochets. Okay. Then you're going to chain 2. You're going to skip this, go into the next space, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Then you're going to chain 1, and now it's time to work your 3 puffs. Okay, so now we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're at 5, then we did 5, then we did 4, now we're down to 3. So again, you're not going to work into this space here. You're going to work in between these 2 puffs right here, and you're going to put a puff, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, go in between the next set, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, go in between the next, work another puff. Chain 1, and you have all your 3 puffs that you need for this row. So you're going to skip all of this right here and go into this next space right here in between these 2 sets of 2 double crochets. Work a double crochet, another double crochet, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Then you're going to chain 2, skip this big space right here, go into the next, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets, then you will chain 1, and now you're at your puffs over on this side. And now you need to do 3 puffs over here, so you go ahead and do that, and I'll pause the video. Okay, so we finished our row with the 3 puffs over here, so we're just going to chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch to our first chain of 3 there to close. And then just like every row, we're going to slip stitch over to our chain of 2 space, and then we're going to chain 3, do a double crochet, chain 2, and then do 2 more double crochets because the chain of 3 counts as our first double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2, skip this big space here, go into the next, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Then we're going to chain 1, and now we're going to work 2 puff stitches here. So you'll skip this space and you'll go in between this first set of puffs here. You'll go right in between there and do a puff. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, and then work in between these. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, then chain 1, and you're all done there. That's the only puffs you're going to do there. So you're going to go over to this next space well over here, and you're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Then you're going to chain 2, skip this big space, go into the next, and work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Okay, then you will chain 1, and now you're back over here for your other set of puffs, and now you need to work 2 over here. So you go ahead and get that done, and I'll meet you back up in just a minute. Okay, so we finished our 2 puffs over there, so we're going to slip stitch right over here to our chain 2 space. You're going to chain 3, do a double crochet, chain 2, do 2 more double crochets. Then you're going to chain 2, skip this space here, go to the next, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. Then you're going to chain 1, and now you are only going to work 1 puff stitch right in the middle of these 2 right here. So go right in the middle and work 1 puff. Then chain 1, go into your next available space over here, not here, but over here, and work 2 double crochets. Chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Then you're going to chain 2, chain 2, and then you're going to go not into this space but into the next one and work 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, then chain 2 and work 2 more double crochets. Okay, then you're going to chain 1, and now you're back over here to where you need to work your last puff. So go right in between those 2 puffs there and work 1 puff stitch. Then chain 1, and then you will slip stitch to the top of your chain of 3, just like you've been doing. And that's it for our puffs, and that's what it looks like so far. Isn't it beautiful? So now I'm going to show you how that you do 1 more row with no puffs, and I'll show you how to do that to finish up this petal. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just like we've done before, we're going to slip stitch over to our chain 2 space. Then we're going to chain 3, put another double crochet, chain 2, then do 2 more double crochets. Then you're going to chain 2, skip this space, go into the next, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 more double crochets, and now you're at the place where you would normally do a puff, okay? And you would normally chain 1, but you're not going to chain 1 now. You're simply going to skip all of this, so the space before the puff, the space after the puff, the actual puff, and go all the way over here to where you have your 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So no chaining at all. You're going to go right into there and you're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. Okay, then you're going to chain 2, skip this space here, go into the next space and work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. And now you're back here where you had a puff again, but you're going to skip all of this and you're simply going to slip stitch into the top of your first chain of 3 there, just like that. And that's how it's ended, just like this. And yes, I know there's a little hole here. That's okay. I'm going to show you how that works out later when you put them all together. So now you're simply going to cut off, pull your yarn through all the way and pull tight. Okay, and you're done with your petals. So now we're going to work on putting all these together and doing the puff stitches around the flower. Okay, so I already have some done here, and I want to show you. These work downwards. So we just did this petal. So this point here, not the open part, but this point faces down to the middle of the flower, and this place places out. Okay, so it works like this. Okay, and then we have these little puffs that we make and we join together through this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that right over here. All right, so when you start this off, you're going to start it the same I'm fixing to show you. You're going to start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see we have our little edges where we did the chain of 2. When you lay those flat, it gives like a little flared out look here. So you're going to be counting this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to the 6th one is where you start the puff stitches around, okay? So you would start at the very beginning, you would work puff stitches, and I'm going to show you how to do that, all the way around, and then you would bring your next petal in, and you would bring it over, do a single crochet, and start puffs going all the way around that way. And then you would just keep adding them till the very end, okay? So now this would have been my last petal that we're about to work on. And I want to show you how to do these puff stitches. So I'm going to move this all over. All right. And I'm going to bring this in. Again, this part is facing forward down and this part is facing out. Okay. So I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to be working in the 6th space here, and I'm going to be working right around that chain of 2 there. So I'm going to work right into that, do a single crochet, and then I'm going to start a puff. So I'm going to yarn over, go into that place, work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After I work my 5th one there, I'm going to, just like I did my other puffs, I'm going to hold this with my thumb, pull through. This time I only have 1 loop on my hook. Then I'm going to go through that loop I was holding with my thumb, pull up my yarn. I have 2 loops on my hook, go through both of those. And then I would just, now that we've got it joined, I would just continue on going up in each chain 2 space. So go to the next, do a single crochet, and then work a puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through all of those, holding my thumb here to hold this in place. Go through, pull up, go through both loops. And again, go into the next chain 2 space, do a single crochet, pull up, go through and do a puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Go through all of those. I have 1 loop on my hook, go through where I was holding my thumb, pull through both. So I want you to keep doing that all the way until you get up to this last one here. And I want you to even work 1 here, but I'll meet you back right there and I'll show you how to do the top and how to go around, okay? So I'll meet you back in just a minute. Okay, so we've worked puffs all the way up, and this is our last one for this side here. So you're just gonna go right into the very top where this chain of 2 is, and you're gonna do a single crochet, and then you're going to work a puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and now you're at the very top and you see all of this here, you know, a lot of spaces here. And all I want you to do is jump over to this space right here, okay? So this would be the chain 2 space on the other side. So if we're going down and we're looking at the other side, you're going to be working into this top one right here. So you're just going to skip over everything and you're just going to go right into that space, okay? And you're going to do a single crochet. And then you're going to work a puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and now you have your puff there. And so then you're just going to work puffs going down this way. And remember, you're only going to go up until, so from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you would be working into this space here. So you want to work all the way down to right there. So you'll work, you did this puff, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 puffs, okay? So we'll do 1 more together, working down the other way. So go into your next space, work a single crochet, and then do a puff. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? And then you would go into your next space and do a single crochet and then start working another puff. So just keep going down as far as you should, and then I'm going to show you how to join everything together. Okay, so now we finished going down this flower, going down this way, this petal I mean, and I know that you noticed that we have this open spot up here, right here. That's okay, that's going to be left that way. If you want to work it in later, you can, but it's really not necessary. Okay, so now you're done with all your puffs going around the top. So you're going to cut off, leaving enough space to sew this together just on the ends here. Okay. So now you're going to pull this through, just like this. And then you're going to take your darning needle, okay, and you're going to line this up with your other puff right here, okay? So going right under this puff right here, you're simply going to pull this in so it comes together and then go back the other way, just like that. And then you're just gonna work it in, okay? So you're gonna work in this piece of yarn so it never comes undone. So I'm gonna come back through up here and I'm just going to work it in 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Just want to make sure that I'm not messing up any of my delicate work here with these petals. Okay, so that's all done. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of yarn and put it onto our darning needle, and we're going to start sewing up through here, and that's going to bring our flower together. Okay, so I'm going to use my pink yarn and I'm going to thread it onto my darning needle, and I'm going to thread on quite a bit, so I'm probably going to do about a couple feet just so I know I don't have to do it over again. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're just going to start working these in. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push these bottoms together like this, okay? So I'm kind of grabbing them, pinching them, and pulling them together like so. So I'm going to go right through here, right through the bottom here, and right through the bottom of this one. And then I'm going to pinch this one together, and I'm going to go right through the bottom of that one. Okay, and then you can start pulling through if you want. Make sure you leave enough on the end to work in later. Okay, and then if you find you didn't go through too much, go back through. You want to go through the ends here. And I'm going to go through this end over here. And again, I'm just kind of pinching these together. And then I'm going to go around through this one. And then through this one. Okay. And I'm just kind of pinching together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these two together like so. So I'm going to pull these two ends. Okay, so I have 2 ends now, and I'm going to cut off this side that I worked in. So I had this one left over and this one that was on my needle. So I'm just going to pull very tightly so I can pull it together, and then that way these will all be puffed up here. And then I'm going to do a knot. So I'm going to tie a knot, which will make them even come closer. And I'm going to tie the knot a couple times. And then what I would do is I would take these 2 pieces and I would cut them off because they're way too long. And then I would work these 2 in, okay? So you're going to have pieces all around that you need to work in from the bottom of your flower here. So over here and over here. So you'll need to work those pieces in. And now I'm going to show you how to make the little middle portion that goes around here. Now, depending upon what you're using this for, I'm going to be using this for the middle of a tablecloth. If you wanted to use it for an applique for a blanket, I mean, you could use this for so many different things. You could make a pillow out of it. You could stuff the petals. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. You can do whatever you want. I am not going to sew these ends together here, right here, all this open space right there. So if I pull it apart, you can see a little bit of open, but I'm not going to sew that together because I'm using it for a centerpiece and I don't find it necessary, but you might. So if you want to, you can sew those together there. I also did this a little different where I did the white here. I didn't alternate, I could have done one more white and it been 3 whites and 3 pinks, but I decided to do it a little bit different, so you can do that different as well. Okay, but I'm going to show you how to make the little middle piece, how to put it in, and then we'll be all done. Okay, so to make the little middle piece that goes in the middle of the flower, I'm going to chain 30. 1, 2, 3, 30. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 1 more, and then I'm going to do a half double crochet in the second chain from the hook, just like that. And I'm going to do half double crochets all the way down. Okay, so now we did our half double crochet, so we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to go back across and we're going to do double crochet. So this chain of 3 counts as our first double crochet here. So we're going to go into our next stitch and do a double crochet. And we're just going to keep doing double crochets all the way down. Okay? So just double crochets all the way down. When we get to the end, I'll meet you back up again. Okay, so we finished our double crochets going back across. And now I just want you to leave a big long piece here because you're going to end up sewing this onto your flower. So you're just going to pull through. So after we did our double crochets here and we closed off there, we left a long piece to thread in. We're going to need to work this end in, and then you're going to roll this very loosely, okay? So I'm just going to show you how to do this. I'm not going to go through because you'll know how to do it, but you just, you know, crochet very loosely, and you've got this you're going to work in. So face it down so that you can start with this to work in, and then it's going to sit right in the middle of your flower, just like that. You can loosen it up a little bit if you want. And then you're just simply going to sew it on. You're going to sew it on at the bottom all the way around, and then you're going to pull through and go through the middle a little bit to keep it there, okay? So it's very easy to do. You can make that looser or tighter, however you want to make it. But isn't that just a gorgeous 3D humongous flower? Yes, takes a little work, but it's absolutely beautiful. If you have any questions, comments, or anything, or you need some help, you want to show me a picture, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Facebook, you can find me on TikTok, and of course you can find me here on YouTube, and I have a Gmail, so all that's in the description box below, and you can find me there if you need me, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Happy crocheting. Bye-bye.